Is this happening to you? Then you're in the right place for video game training. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to defeat Queen Gibdo on The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The tactics that we're going to use is a combination of Riju's lightning ability plus some fruit. So first of all, we want to head it over to Riju and then press on her. So that will start the lightning ability to start generating. Then we want to head on over to Queen Gibdo and hit her with a fire fruit or a shock fruit. And you could even use a dazzle fruit, but I'd hold on to your dazzle fruits for phase 2. You can also put her into a weakened state by using Riju's lightning ability, but ideally hold off on using the lightning ability because we're going to hit her with a fruit and then follow it up with the lightning ability straight after. After hitting her with a fire fruit, it will then put her into a weakened state, where she'll turn a white colour. Whilst we've been doing that, Riju's lightning ability should have generated across the arena, and then as soon as Riju's lightning ability is on Queen Gibdo, you want to shoot your arrow and hit Queen Gibdo with your arrow. This will then knock her down to the floor, so run on up as fast as you can and put in as much damage as you can do. If you have any attack increase foods, then now would be the time to pop them. After you've put in quite a lot of attacks, you'll notice that your attack sound when it hits Queen Gibdo sounds a little bit different. It kind of sounds like a bit more of a dull tone when you hit her. So if you listen carefully to your attacks and then you hear that dull sound, that means that Queen Gibdo's armor has returned and she's left the weakened state. So when you hear that, that's your cue to stop attacking and run away as fast as you can. What's going to happen is Queen Gibdo is going to do a charge towards you, and this attack does loads of damage. So you need to be running away and then running to the sides as fast as you can. Her attack will be like a forward charge, so as long as you're running towards the left or the right to avoid the charge, you should be fine. I'd also recommend popping on Sidon's water protection as much as you can throughout this fight if you do have Sidon with you. Essentially for phase 1 of this fight, just rinse and repeat those tactics. When we get her health down to halfway, she's going to transition into phase 2, and in phase 2 she will now summon adds into the fight as well. So with this phase, there's 4 columns that we need to destroy. Once again, press on Riju to start generating the lightning. Then when the lightning goes over the column, shoot the purple section of the column to destroy it. Make sure to hit the glowing purple section, otherwise it won't destroy the column. Once this has been destroyed, you can then see a beam of light shining down from the ceiling. So make sure to stand in this beam of light because it will protect you against all of the Gibdos. What you can do here is throw a dazzle fruit at the floor, and the dazzle fruit will explode and turn all of the Gibdos into a weakened state. So once they're all in a weakened state, you can just run around and quickly delete them. You can also put these Gibdos into a weakened state using fire or lightning or even ice, but because the dazzle fruit is kind of like a flashbang effect, you can throw it at the floor and it covers an area. So I tend to find that the dazzle fruits work quite well against these groups of Gibdos. Whilst you're in this protection of the light coming from the ceiling, it will protect you against most of the Gibdos' attacks. However, there are some attacks that can still get in, so watch out for those. Another thing that you want to do whilst you're in the protection of this light is press on Riju to start generating her lightning ability again. And once again, as soon as her lightning covers one of the pillars, then make sure to shoot an arrow again into the purple section of the pillar, which will once again destroy it and delete it. We need to rinse and repeat this until we've taken out all 4 pillars. Technically speaking, you could concentrate on Queen Gibdo and forget the adds, but because there's so many adds, it does get a little bit overwhelming, so I'd recommend taking out these pillars. If you do have the Gerudo bow, it can also come in quite useful as you're aiming for these pillars that are quite far away. Whilst you're going around and destroying these pillars, there is one attack from Queen Gibdo that you will have to look out for, which is the one where she kind of like shoots a jet of sand towards you. So with this one, there's 2 main ways that you can deal with it. One is you can press on Sidon and get Sidon's ability if you do have Sidon with you, which is the ability where he gives you water protection and you can tank 1 hit. Or if you don't have Sidon, then just whip out your shield and hold block. As long as you're facing towards Queen Gibdo whilst you're holding block, it should block the entirety of this sand attack. After you've taken out all 4 pillars and all of the adds, it's now time to refocus on Queen Gibdo. And this last section of the fight is very similar to phase 1. Throughout this entire fight, you'll also have to look out for her sandstorms attack. So with the sandstorm attack, you just want to be running to your left or your right to avoid the sandstorms. You can sometimes make your way through the middle of it, but it's trickier to do that. I find it a lot easier to just run all the way around the sides. As the sandstorms travel further, the gaps in between them tend to open up wider, so it's up to you if you just want to run around it or you want to wait for the gap to open up. And another thing to watch out for with the sandstorms is if you've pressed on Riju to start the lightning ability, if the sandstorm connects with Riju, it's going to knock her over and it will cancel out the lightning ability, so you'll have to run back over to Riju and press on her again to start it. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. What we want to do on this last part is rinse and repeat the tactics that we used in phase 1, where we run over to Riju and then press on her to start the lightning ability up. Then we want to head on over to Queen Gibdo and hit her with something like a fire fruit. As you're firing your arrow shots at this boss, you can also hold ZL to help with your targeting. Just keep in mind with ZL targeting that if Queen Gibdo is kind of moving towards the left side or the right side, then what tends to happen is your arrow will actually miss. So if she is moving towards the left or the right side and you're trying to hit her with an arrow, ideally you'd want to manual aim and then just place your shot just in front of the direction where she's running to. The ZL targeting can, however, help locate Queen Gibdo because there's a lot of sand and light everywhere in this phase, so sometimes it makes it difficult to see. So because of all this stuff obstructing your vision, ZL targeting can pinpoint where she is. Once you have hit Queen Gibdo with a shock fruit, a fire fruit, or a dazzle fruit and put her into the weakened state, we then want to shoot her with an arrow using Riju's lightning ability. Once again, this will knock her down to the floor where we can run on over and do as much damage as we can do. And once again, as we're attacking, listen out for that dull tone because that means she's going to stand up and charge again. One thing that I would mention in phase 2 that's a little bit different with this charge is because we've got the light beams that are kind of coming down from the ceiling, the game won't let Queen Gibdo enter one of those light beams. So you need to be really careful with the charge forward because if there's a light beam between you and Queen Gibdo, what might happen is the light beam might push Queen Gibdo to the left or the right. So even if you're running really fast to the side to avoid her, the light beam can kind of help Queen Gibdo and push her in the direction of you, which can sometimes make it really difficult to avoid the charge. So just try to be aware of where the light beams are after you've finished smashing in your attacks. Another thing that you can actually do with these light beams is hide inside them. Because the queen can't get into the light, you can actually use it as protection. So if you can get yourself directly bang in the middle of the light beam, then stay here while she does her charge and it will just completely miss. Rinse and repeat these tactics and you'll be saving Hyrule in no time. If you want to continue your video game training, then check out one of these videos right here. I've covered loads of games such as Elden Ring, Sekiro, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Nioh 2, Ninja Gaiden, and loads more. Some videos have just popped up right now. Feel free to check them out and give them a click. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.